AP 120, Lab 6, topic, the skeletal muscles. So, turns out there are about 640 named muscles in the human body, and we're only learning about 35 of them, and some of those are groups. So, this isn't too hard. All right, so here is some of the muscles related to the head and neck. As you can see, one side is more superficial, showing the top muscles. The other side is more deep, showing muscles that might be hiding under other muscles. So start with, we have frontalis. It is in front at the top. Uh, we have on the lateral side the temporalis muscle. We have orbicularis oculi around the eyes. We have orbicularis oris around the mouth. We have masseter on the lateral sides attaching to the mandible. We have buccinator connecting to the corner of the mouth. And then on the lateral sides of the neck, we have sternocleidomastoid muscle. So here is a lateral view now. Again, frontalis, in front of the frontal bone, temporalis near the temporal bone, orbicularis oculi around the eye, orbicularis oris around the mouth. Buccinator, a pretty deep muscle. Masseter on the lateral side, and sternocleidomastoid muscle on the lateral side of the neck. So what do they do? Well, the frontalis raises the eyebrows. Orbicularis oculi closes the eyes. Buccinator compresses the cheek. Orbicularis oris closes the lips. Temporalis attaches to the mandible and elevates or raises the mandible. Masseter also attaches to the mandible and it elevates the mandible. And then sternocleidomastoid muscle, fun little muscle there. If one muscle of these two contracts, it will rotate the head toward the opposite shoulder. If both of these muscles contract, it will flex the head at the neck. It'll let you look down, as it were. Here is a head model. A here is temporalis. B is frontalis, orbicularis oculi, orbicularis oris, masseter right here. There's buccinator, there's sternocleidomastoid. All right, here is the torso. So around the torso and near it, we have the deltoid muscle on our shoulders. We have the large pectoralis major muscle. We have the serratus anterior. You can see parts of it here. You can see more of the serratus anterior muscle over here. It's a deeper muscle, as it were. We see that the deltoid muscle will abduct the arm, raise the arm out laterally, abduct. The pectoralis major muscle will flex the arm and adduct the arm, pull the arm down, flex it, move it from the shoulder joint anteriorly. You can see a tiny piece of the latissimus dorsi muscle here. Latissimus dorsi muscles, most of it's on the back, but it does insert into the humerus. So it can extend the arm at the shoulder joint, or it can adduct the arm at the shoulder joint. And then serratus anterior, it turns out this inserts into the scapula, so it will protract the scapula. Then we have a number of muscles around the abdominal region. Anterior two muscles is the rectus abdominis, right and left rectus abdominis muscles. And give us the six-pack if you work out a lot. Then on the lateral sides of the abdominal region, we have the external obliques, super thin muscles on the lateral side. And then deep or underneath the external obliques is another thin sheet of a muscle called the internal oblique. The rectus abdominis muscles flex the vertebral column, allowing us to bow, as it were. The external oblique, if one contracts, it allows for trunk rotation or lateral flexion. Internal oblique, underneath, one of them contracts that allow for trunk rotation or lateral flexion. And all three of these muscles can compress the abdominal wall. Why would we want to compress our abdominal wall? Well, it would be putting pressure on the abdominal structures. And that's important for, say, breathing out really hard, or laughing, or sneezing, or coughing, or urinating, or defecating. childbirth. All right, here is some deeper muscles. So underneath pectoralis major, we have pectoralis minor. So it's origins on the ribs, inserts into the scapula, as it were. And then here's serratus anterior again. We can also see these small little muscles between the ribs called the external intercostals, and underneath them or next to them are the internal intercostals. So there's two sets of muscles between the ribs, the external intercostals and the internal intercostals. The pectoralis minor protracts and depresses the scapula, protracts, pulls it forward, depresses, pulls it down when the shoulders are already elevated. The external intercostals elevate the rib cage for breathing in. The internal intercostals depress the rib cage for breathing out forcefully. Here is one of our torso models, muscles A, B, C, D, E. Why, look at that, deltoid, serratus anterior, sternocleidomastoid, pectoralis major, and external oblique. This is the more superficial side. All right, on the back side of the trunk of the body, we can see a better view of latissimus dorsi. It is a huge sheet of a muscle. And again, it attaches to the humerus and will extend the arm at the shoulder or adduct the arm. Another big muscle on the back is trapezius. Trapezius is a large muscle with its origins running along the edge of the vertebra and the head, and it inserts into the scapula, and it can elevate the scapula, pull it up, or it can retract the scapula, pull it backwards, posterior. So pull it superior, elevate, or posterior, retract. All right, in the arms, we have on the anterior view here, the biceps brachii muscle. And underneath that, deep to that, is the brachialis muscle. And then on the posterior side, we have the triceps brachii. So biceps brachii will flex the arm at the shoulder joint and also flex the forearm at the elbow joint. Brachialis only crosses one joint, the elbow joint, so it only flexes the forearm. Triceps brachii also crosses two joints, so it can extend the arm at the shoulder joint or extend the forearm at the elbow. In the anterior side of the forearm, we have a group of muscles we're calling the hand flexor group, and they flex the hand at the wrist. On the posterior side of the forearm, posterior side, we have a group of muscles we're calling the hand extensor group, and they can extend the hand at the wrist. Again, here is the arm model. Here is that muscle, that muscle, that muscle, these. So that would be biceps brachii, brachialis, triceps brachii, and the hand flexor group. Again, this is the anterior side, so hand flexor group. All right, then we have the muscles for the lower limbs. We have iliopsoas muscle. Iliopsoas muscle was originally two separate muscles, but we're grouping them together. They insert into the femur. We have the tensor fasciae lati muscle. We have this strip of a muscle going across the front called the sartorius muscle. Then again, this is an anterior view of the thigh. So this front muscle here is rectus femoris. And then rectus femoris with these other three muscles together make up the quadriceps femoris group. So quadriceps femoris group, four muscles, one of them being rectus femoris. So iliopsoas, what does it do? It helps to flex the thigh at the hip joint. Tensor fasciae lati can help to flex the thigh at the hip joint, also helps to abduct the thigh, so pull it outward laterally. Sartorius muscle here, it can help to flex the thigh at the hip joint. It can also laterally rotate the thigh at the hip joint. So laterally rotate, twist it so that the knee is going out laterally. The rectus femoris muscle by itself can help to flex the thigh at the hip joint. And it also can help to extend the leg at the knee joint. And then the quadriceps femoris group together is said to extend the knee. So moves the lower leg, extends at the knee. All right, we have a group of medial muscles in the thigh. These medial muscles make up what's called the adductor group. And surprise, surprise, they are able to adduct the thigh. So when your leg is already sticking out laterally, they will adduct it, pull it down medially. All right, this posterior view of the thigh gives us a good view of gluteus maximus. Gluteus maximus, the major muscle of the buttocks. And then this group of three muscles, these three muscles here are the hamstring group. So the gluteus maximus helps to extend the thigh at the hip joint, so pull it posteriorly. The hamstrings also help to extend the thigh at the hip joint, but they also cross the knee joint, so they also help to flex the knee, so flex the lower leg at the knee joint, so bend the leg as it were. We go down to the lower leg, we see this anterior muscle here running next to the tibia. That is called tibialis anterior. So this is tibialis anterior. And on the posterior side, we have this double-headed muscle here called gastrocnemius. And then underneath it is soleus. So tibialis anterior comes down, wraps around to the bottom of the foot. So what it actually does is helps to dorsiflex the foot or move the foot so that the foot is going up. Gastrocnemius crosses two joints, the knee joint and the ankle joint. When it crosses the ankle joint, it helps to plantar flex the foot, so move the foot so that the foot is going down, or tiptoes. And it also helps to flex the knee. So gastrocnemius also helps to flex the leg at the knee joint. Soleus, underneath gastrocnemius, only crosses the ankle joint, so it only plantar flexes the foot. So it helps us stand on our tiptoes, as it were. Here is a leg model. Here's up at the thigh, down here at the leg. Giving us sartorius here, quadriceps femoris group, the whole area. Again, it was asking for group. Adductor group, hamstring group, gastrocnemius, soleus. Definitely want to watch the videos on the models for this lab. That is it.